This is the Dan Lebatard Show with the Stugatz podcast.
All right, if that's where you guys want to start, that's where we'll start. Stugatz's wheels are turning because there's been news breaking throughout the Twitter sphere. I don't know what I'm allowed to say here. I don't know anything except what the crew has told me, which is that Jamel is no longer on the 6 o'clock Sports Center. I don't know what's being reported, who's reporting it, but the crew seems to have just noticed that that is a change. And so the way that we all noticed it was looking into the corner and seeing the wheels turning on Stugatz on how he can angle to get the 6 p.m. Sports Center. And all of us were thinking to ourselves, well, what's spinning in there is like, well, I need to make it ethnic. I need to make the show ethnic. So what do you think, ESPN, Norby, Chuck? Sports Center at 6 o'clock, the Sports Jew.
It's got a nice ring to it.
We all saw it. Let's go a different direction with the branding. And we all saw it happening in Stugatz's mind. Yeah. But before we go any further, we need to make a correction. As Stugatz plots to have Monday Night Football and Sports Center at 6 p.m., he still continues to make mistakes at an alarming rate. He just did so on the ESPNU pregame show. You need to correct that for us publicly on the radio. What was the mistake you just made?
Well, I was talking about LeBron James tweeted out after the fact that he wishes the All-Star Game draft would have been televised. He's the reason it wasn't televised. And I was saying the reason I wanted it to be televised was to see the reaction of Russell Westbrook when he was drafted last. That's how I said it. I need to correct that because we have no idea if Russell Westbrook was drafted last. Westbrook thinks that he was drafted last.
Woj. Let's go. Wojnarowski, you're the best in the business, best who's ever done it. Everyone loves your basketball information. Let's go. Who was drafted last? Let's report it. Or, Schefter, if you know, and you want to knock Woj's place off at the top of the kingdom. If you know, feel free to report it yourself, Schefter. We want to know who was drafted last. I like to imagine Kyrie Irving and Russell Westbrook both tumbling toward the last spot because Steph knows that he can't take Westbrook for Durant and LeBron knows he can't take Kyrie. And so I just love the idea of both of them just at the end. The two of them haven't been picked and they're staring at each other. But before we get to the Sports Jew, and before we get to Uncle Luke, father of booty music in Miami, feuding with Derek Jeter, perhaps you've noticed here on ESPN Radio that this show rattles some cages, and we weren't happy with the way that our promos were done at the beginning, and we asked the people who handle that stuff, who were doing very serious promos, you know, Dan Lebatard, Stugatz, Hall of Famer Chipper Jones joins the show. And it was very serious stuff. We didn't want it like that. But now it feels a little too messy. The way they're promoting the show is they're splicing it up. And you guys see here if you can find the error in judgment in the way that our show is being promoted here at the network.
He deserves a night. Paul Pierce. Dan, come on. Isaiah
Doesn't
Thomas.
Deserve a night. I mean, Sioux Falls is about to give you a day. Paul Pierce got stabbed in that city.
The Dan Lebatard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
Thank you, Roy. That is the appropriate look. Yes. What kind of echoing sound is that to throw at the end? What did Paul Pierce accomplish in that city? You'll hear me list his resume with the very last sentence that for some reason is echoing like a movie trailer. Paul Pierce got stabbed in that city.
It's got to echo, though, man. It's got to echo.
What kind of ending is that?
In the world of radio, that needs to echo. It does. I'm telling you,
I don't even understand what that means. Like, yes, he got stabbed in that city, but I was talking about the general allegiances to that city. I was talking about the emotional investment that fans make into their players, and it gets reduced into one bite-sized cube by ESPN that has me echoing throughout eternity saying this. Paul Pierce got stabbed in that city. What kind of way is that to end a promo?
A terrible way.
Who's responsible for this?
A heavy-handed way. An unfair way.
I mean, why are we representing our show by me just shouting Paul Pierce was stabbed in that city? Who are we representing well there? Paul Pierce got stabbed in that city.
You know, the point I was going to make is that Isaiah Thomas played through a playoff run after the death of his sister.
That's right. That is the context of the point is Stugotz was arguing Isaiah Thomas deserves a night. His sister, he played through the death of his sister for that city. And I just blurted out in response, Paul Pierce got stabbed in that city.
Without the echoes.
Who did that?
We got to the bottom of why Russell Westbrook thought he got picked last, and it's because he saw a paper and he didn't realize that it was in alphabetical order. We have sound of him discovering.
Okay, now, so Russell Westbrook has reported that he was picked last is because he didn't realize that he was looking at something that was alphabetical and Zaza's not in the game.
See, I was the last pick on the list. I was just trying to figure out,
alphabetical. It was alphabetical.
See, I told you, man. Alphabetical order, man. Of course I was first.
Of course I was first.
Why did they not televise that? It's so strange that why would they not televise that?
I don't know, but the fact that LeBron came out after the fact and said they should have televised that, I'm guessing he's one of the reasons they did not televise that. He didn't want anyone seeing that.
No, they reported that it was because people didn't want hurt feelings, but seriously. Woj can get at this information. This is the information to get in basketball today, is it not?
Yes.
Who was taken last? Just so that we could gossip and be petty and be silly. And basketball does a great job of feeding those things. Football does a terrible. Football always wants to eradicate them. When things escalate into a fight on the field, they want to simmer all of that down.
Right.
Basketball feeds it.
But Westbrook may have gone last, Dan, because if LeBron took Durant, and he did, he took him number one, right? So I think Steph is sitting there going, he's not going to take Westbrook. I could just take whoever I want. Westbrook's going to be available to me with the final pick because LeBron's not going to do that to KD. I wish LeBron had done that to KD, though. That would have been fun. LeBron should have done that.
First pick, Kevin Durant. Yes. Second pick, Westbrook.
Last pick had to come down to either Aldridge or Horford. Had to have.
That's speculative. I want facts. I want them before the end of the show. I want this show to gather. I want this show to become a news-breaking outfit. Did you see what we did yesterday? Somebody was named to the Hall of Fame. We called him on the phone. Chipper Jones. We did radio yesterday.
Mike, you don't think it's Kevin Love? I think Steph Curry just stuck LeBron with Kevin Love.
LeBron got stuck with a lot of awkward situations. Got the Kevin Love thing, the Kyrie thing, and also he has Westbrook on the same team as Durant. I mean, it's going to be curious how he gets that locker room settled in, GM LeBron.
Took Cousins and Anthony Davis. I told you that tweet the other day you were laughing about, right? When LeBron tweeted how good DeMarcus Cousins is, that's where he's going.
Okay, you've mentioned that a couple of times. You want to get out there with that take as fast as you can.
Yep, I'm first. It's fine.
All right, it's yours. Everybody back away. Listen to me. Aldridge, let's wave a torch like Indiana Jones in that temple of legless lizards. Let's wave a torch. Hey, get out of here, Woj. Get out of here. This is Stugotz's territory. LeBron to the Pelicans.
He's taking it for a test drive over All-Star Weekend. I'm telling you, man.
So you do this thing and no one actually holds you to anything. In this last week, you said he's definitely going to Milwaukee and he's definitely going to New Orleans. Which one is it?
I'll have a couple of more before he makes his decision, and somehow I'm going to be right. So.
All right. Well, here's the thing, though. There's sometimes you're going to be wrong and we're going to remember it as that time that you criticized Pat Riley. Perhaps we could get that sound. This was Stugotz, and the filibustering I have to do on the front end as we look for this sound is you need to know that this was Stugotz on the radio, and this was days before the Miami Heat acquired LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade and made that their team. Days before that, Stugotz was on the radio, and Stugotz was gasbagging, and Stugotz, who takes no inventory of the times that he's been wrong. But again, days before, LeBron, Dwayne, and Bosh all ended up as members of the Miami Heat. This was Stugotz as we go back in time, nostalgically, into the Stugotz personal record books.
Has Pat Riley failed Dwayne Wade? Seriously. Has Riley and the organization, because Dan, all these other teams, all the other contenders went out and made moves, and the Heat haven't done a single thing. What have they done for Dwayne Wade? They got him Jermaine O'Neal, a broken Jermaine O'Neal. He's going to leave here, and he should leave here.
He got him the greatest free agent and teammate in the history of the NBA.
The Heat is still mad at you.
Really?
About that take. Was it the take longer?
Strange.
Was it the take even longer than
Season
that? Do
ticket
you have a
holder,
longer?
customer,
Do you have the longer version of that?
They got him Shaq
Yeah.
and a championship.
Since then. Let's sell him on this notion of all these guys we're going to get next year. None of these guys want to come here. None of them. He's failed, Dwayne Wade. Failed the fans. Failed the city.
LeBron and Bosch. 4 straight final appearances. I nailed it. ESPN at the time, though, he was really failing Dwayne Wade. At the exact time I said it.
At that minute that you said it, you were correct.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Get your quote at Progressive.com today. The NBA is on ESPN Radio. Tune in tomorrow night as Kyrie Irving and the Celtics visit Steph Curry and the Warriors. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Here's your SportsCenter update. Tiger Woods shot even par in the first round of the Farmers Open and is 7 shots behind the leader. You got something there, Dan?
Well, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, my bad. It's just I'm
I
reading.
thought a difficult name was coming.
I'm
Well,
watching.
it is, yes.
No, I'm watching First Take, and they're talking about LeBron James asking the Cavs not to trade Kyrie Irving, and Irving threatening to have season-ending knee surgery if there was no deal. Cleveland.com is reporting that. So that's where that ended up, where LeBron is saying you can't trade Kyrie. They don't want to trade Kyrie, and says if you don't trade me, I'm going to have knee surgery. That's a good story right there.
Yeah, and you allowed me to skip over the name of the guy I can't pronounce.
Hi, this is Papi. Do you know that my TV show Highly Questionable is not only on ESPN2 every day at 4:30 Eastern? It is also available as a podcast. You can listen or subscribe to the Highly Questionable podcast on ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Don Le Batard.
Oscar Robinson had 41 triple-doubles back in 61-62. 41.
Stugats. It's Robertson, but
Big O.
Okay, but
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
these details that Cleveland.com is reporting, I bet those weren't in the time capsule that Billy had. The idea that Kyrie Irving, we now understand to what levels this power struggle got to, and man, is it interesting to see how Kyrie Irving took the power away from LeBron James, how Kyrie Irving did to LeBron James what LeBron James has done to the last 2 organizations that he left.
Learn from the best.
I mean, the report saying that LeBron, in his last year offering no commitment to Cleveland, no commitment beyond this year, said, do not trade Kyrie. That's the report. Do not trade Kyrie. I want to go into the season with this guy and figure out another way to get us pieces. My guess is he wanted Love or someone else traded. Figure out, I want Kyrie here to create shots. And Kyrie Irving so badly didn't want to be there that he said, if you guys do not trade me, he threatened, I will have season-ending knee surgery.
Wow.
Like, that's the only way to sort of wrestle the power away from LeBron James. And he won. Kyrie Irving won the power struggle with LeBron James. And it's the only way to do it. So, petty? Yes. Unprofessional? Yes. Selfish? Yes. And the end of it is the power gets the reward.
Right.
All that is.
He did what he had to do to get that power.
That is correct. Right? All of it, you could judge it all you want. You could say it's immoral. You could say it's cutthroat. You could say it's not in the spirit of team or championship, or that it's enormously selfish. You could judge it the way you want. But the end of the transaction is Kyrie Irving not only won a power struggle with LeBron James, he is rewarded with getting exactly what he wanted for that behavior while under contract. He not only, like, that's what happens when you keep giving players power, Stugats, and I love that league does it. It makes it juicy. How juicy is what we're just putting in front of you? The idea that those are just office dynamics.
Right.
LeBron James, Kyrie Irving with Ty Lue as the middle manager. Ty Lue is the boss that no one respects. The suit no one respects. Dan Gilbert's the owner none of them want to play for. And at the top of that power structure, LeBron James was always treating Kyrie Irving like a little boy, like a little brother. We're always referring to him the ways that I'm teaching him, the things that I'm teaching him. And
right.
Kyrie Irving checkmated him at the end, just checkmated him on this season. And now look what's happening. in both places.
Right. Wanted out that badly that he was willing to do that. I mean, think about it. If you're Kyrie, we talked about this at the time. You hit the game-winning shot, the biggest shot in Cavalier history, and the guy who gets all the credit after you hit the shot that beat the Warriors is LeBron James and not Kyrie Irving.
But what is this? Is this Game of Thrones or is this office dynamics? The feud for power among the top employees, LeBron and Kyrie Irving, is it Game of Thrones or is it just general office dynamics? Top sales dog going against the number 2 sales dog. The sales team is doing a lot of winning, but it's a competitive environment. If things get feisty, things get cutthroat. Next thing you know, number 2 thinks he's better than number 1 and thinks he should be ahead of number 1 and thinks he's carried number 1 and thinks that number 1 is getting too much credit for the work of number 2.
I think it's closer to that. Yeah.
It's like Narcos. You know, you're getting all the glory, you're getting all the money. I'm out here doing the real work. Putting my life on the line.
Wait a minute. So wait, is LeBron Frank Lopez? Is it Scarface? Is LeBron Frank Lopez and Kyrie Irving is Al Pacino?
Tony Montana.
Is that what we're dealing with here?
Yeah. Drugs for some reason are working better with this one for
right?
me. I don't know why.
Why Narcos and Scarface? I went more benign than that.
It seems Scarfacey.
Right, but I went Game of Thrones, epic in scale, life and death in scale, but also clearly fantasy.
Everyone just wants to kill each other.
Right.
For the crown, for the throne. I guess it could work, but they're not really working together. There isn't like they're never really on the same team.
Can you explain to me why football, every time something like this makes an appearance in football, they don't feed it? They don't. It's a thing that if 2 guys hate each other, if Josh Norman and Odell Beckham hate each other.
Well, they fed that, didn't they?
No, we fed it.
Okay.
We fed it. The NFL started to punish it. Crabtree and Talib.
Right.
Like 2 guys hate each other and it escalates to a violence as opposed to all this hate that we like that doesn't escalate to violence in basketball. That's just Westbrook and Durant and all of this stuff that we love.
But football actually escalates to violence and it could be more violent than it already is. I know, but
this
is just gossip and words.
I know, but what I am interested about in the image of football as it goes forward, and it's why it was so disappointing yesterday what the XFL did. Just so disappointing that you decided to be a less edgy NFL instead of an edgier NFL because the diluted version of the NFL is what we presently have. It's called the NFL. Like they keep trying to dilute this thing that's not pure, telling you that it's pure. And every once in a while, it leaks out in this violence that becomes uncomfortable for the viewing public. And so is that the disconnect? That we love it when it's LeBron against Kyrie. Kyrie threatening to injure. Kyrie wasn't threatening to injure LeBron. Kyrie was threatening to self-mutilate. Kyrie so hated working with LeBron that he threatened the Cavs he was going to cut himself or have someone else do it for him.
Wasn't hurt? Didn't need knee surgery?
I don't know. Well, that's the other thing.
I'm going to go tear my ACL.
That's the other thing. Is that the finals performance we got with Kyrie Irving needing knee surgery?
Don Le Batard.
Deion Sanders is the best to ever do it. I think we've talked to you before briefly. I don't know how. At one point, you had gone public saying you had a sex addiction, right?
Stugats.
No. This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
All right, so here's what we've got for you. Christian Yelich has been traded by the Marlins, and it is something that is yet another reminder of how many different ways baseball continues to bleep South Florida. We had the commissioner of baseball on with us, who helped orchestrate this entire sale of the Marlins that ends up with yet again a fan base for the 4th time dealing with, no, this is the fire sale that's going to fix everything.
Liar.
And Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, didn't like his interview with us on the show, and
I'm not going to be deposed.
Yeah, that didn't go so well. And here the Marlins are again now trading Christian Yelich, a good contract, a cheap contract, someone who can help them 4 or 5 years from now, because Christian Yelich has one of the most baseball-friendly contracts anywhere in the sport. Christian Yelich might be the most valuable contract in the sport when you just consider how little he's being paid for what it is that he's going to give you for the next 6 or 7 years of his prime.
Your impression, like a number of them, are incorrect.
And so now, Billy, Uncle Luke, godfather of booty music in South Florida, Trick Daddy's going to be on with us later, disciple and soldier to the Uncle Luke throne here in Miami.
I own a home in South Florida.
That part was my favorite. That part was. I understand everything that's happening in South Florida. I mean, what?
I own a home in South Florida.
Tax exemption. I have an exemption in Florida.
2 hours
I
north
own a
of
home.
the ballpark.
That is the most disconnected thing you will ever hear. Wait a minute. I understand exactly the suffering brown people of South Florida. I own a home there.
I own a home in South Florida.
I own an island there.
We do not.
So, Guillermo, what's happening with Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell now, godfather of booty music in Miami, and Derek Jeter, the new CEO of the Marlins?
Uncle Luke's not happy about what's been going on, and he just tweeted this a little while ago. I had a good friend of mine this week call me, said he spoke with Jeter, suggested that me and him talk. What the bleep am I going to talk to him about? You just blew up my team. How would that go?
It's why they make chocolate and vanilla.
There were so many amazing things about the interview, not the least of which I believe it's the first commissioner to ever publicly condone tanking. I mean, when there was tanking in basketball, what happened? The damn league stepped in and yanked Hanky out of there and put one of those Colangelos in charge, or both of the Colangelos, or all the Colangelos in charge.
Liar.
I mean, when it looked like that league was tanking, the commissioner was so insane by it that he got Hanky kicked the hell out of the sport.
No.
This commissioner's out here. Well, you know, the Astros and the Cubs tanked. It's tanking is good. Tanking is fun. Give all the players to the Yankees.
It's Hinky. Fun.
What did I make?
I mean, you keep calling him Hanky, like he's a handkerchief or something.
Hanky. Is that a fine?
It's Hinky.
Fine. Yeah.
Sam Hinky. Not Sam Hanky.
All right. I'll pay the $1 fine.
You're racking him up today, boy.
But let's think about this for a second. Look at this. I can pay for the Marlins outfield this year with all the fines I've put up here.
Incorrect.
Right here. Seriously. Think about what basketball did. A commissioner, it's a little bit frustrating, actually, that people get distracted by the noise and not what's happening here. They get distracted by me having an argumentative interview with the power in the sport.
You want to ask me questions, I'll answer them the way that I want to answer them.
And the thing that ends up happening is, again, the Marlins are sitting here in a situation where they're trading one of their last popular players because, A, they've made it an untenable situation for him where he doesn't want to be here under any circumstances. And then B, on top of that, they're selling it to you with the idea that not even the good contracts, not even the contracts that are favorable to the team, we do not care. We're getting rid of everybody and we're scrapping it. And I just don't understand how you expect to make customers that way.
It's why they make chocolate and vanilla.
They don't expect to make customers that way. They don't, Dan. I'm telling you, they don't. It's about making money, and they think they're going to be good in 4 years.
All right, bye.
But what I'm saying to you is, if you're going to be good in 4 years, Christian Yelich is exactly the kind of contract that you need to hang on to, because it's everything you're saying about how you want to run that business. Good players had cheap. Fine. Find the best players and get them for value. If that's the way that you're going to run the business, that's positive for everybody in South Florida. But Yelich is supposed to be a part of that. He's not supposed to be someone who gets discarded in that. There are, in some ways, this is more offensive than trading Giancarlo Stanton. Because
no,
it is.
It is.
No.
It is. It's more offensive. It's more offensive than trading the MVP of the league. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now you back off.
Whoa. You know what?
Yes.
I changed my mind. Never mind. Everything I said, I take it back.
Time for Dan to reluctantly take part in something Stugatz couldn't be happier doing.
It's the most intimidating no in the history of no's.
Well, people think it's Liam Neeson, but it's not. It's actually just ESPN management.
No.
Back away from the Manfred.
It's Liam Chapman.
No.
Right. It's not Liam Neeson of Taken. It's Liam who babysits this show, and anytime we get near the commissioner, starts shaking and trying to distract us with fire and shiny things.
No.
That's just ESPN management. Back away from Manfred.
Liar.
Don Lebitard.
What's the stat, by the way? It sounds like a dumb one.
Box plus minus.
Yep. How about rings plus minus?
I mean, okay.
6 for MJ, 3 for LeBron.
Stugats.
Put LeBron's rings in a box and then put MJ's rings in a box and tell me who has more. How's that sound? It's +3, by the way.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Stugats, what were you showing me there during the break about the NFL and declining ratings?
They have to, I'm reading this from Awful Announcing. The NFL will be handing out more make goods to advertisers as declining ratings led to a $300 million decrease in ad revenue. So they got to give up. They're just going to give you make goods. They're going to give you some free spots here, free spots there. It's amazing that the NFL has arrived at this place. When I ran a local radio station down here in Miami, we had to do stuff like that for our advertising. The fact that they have to do it is amazing.
I don't think the NFL is in trouble, but I think all of the things happening around the NFL are giving off that appearance. One of the things that was disappointing about yesterday is I really did think the XFL was going to come in and make a splash by being a little bit rebellious.
Splash.
And instead they went the other way. Vince McMahon, it felt disappointing. Vince McMahon as an anarchist and as a guy who knows how to appeal to young people. It may be Vince McMahon's greatest strength. Knows how to appeal to young people. He went the other way. He went the opposite of what young people would want. Never mind about the social dynamics or the cultural dynamics. Never mind whether he's going for Trump followers or not. He just went opposite young people, and it was disappointing to see Vince McMahon become your grandfather.
But he went to what football fans want. Football fans want this.
Do they?
This is rebellious you. Stand up for an anthem.
Mike, no. At the end, though, they want the product on the field to be entertaining and good.
Wait, yes, but you think football fans want what Vince McMahon was selling yesterday?
Yes. I know plenty of conservatives and football fans, and they were amped about it yesterday.
Wait. Because Vince McMahon, we have sound here saying that this has nothing to do with politics or social issues, that the XFL will just require that everyone stands for the anthem. That was one of the selling points, but here's Vince McMahon in his own words.
I have no idea whether or not President Trump will support this, and let me, this is an opportunity for me to say that as far as our league is concerned, it'll have nothing to do with politics. Absolutely nothing, and nothing to do with social issues either. We're there to play football. We want really good football, and I think that's what fans want as well. When they tune in, I don't know if they want to be dealing with political issues and things of that nature. They want good football. That's what we're going to deliver.
His wife works under the Trump administration.
Okay, but hold on a second. Let's hear this other sound here where Vince McMahon is saying that what matters is the quality of the person. Like, who is this person? Who is this Vince McMahon? He has come out now. Does he think we forgot about how he was trying to sell the XFL? He's now coming with the exact opposite blueprint of how he was selling the XFL.
Right. That XFL failed miserably and lost him $35 million and lost NBC $35 million. He's going the other way because he wants to build a successful business.
No, but how about go somewhere in between? Because he was on to something, and he's taking more time to plan it out. Go somewhere between the NFL and what the XFL was.
The NFL is in between where he's at and where the old XFL was.
Mike.
This is a genius move on his part, and it's irrefutable. Football fans don't want politics with their sport.
Understood, but once you say everyone will stand for our anthem, you've brought politics into your sport.
Yes, you have.
Like, you can say all you want about we're not going to be about politics. If one of your selling points is everyone here, listen up. In our league, all the black people are standing. That's what he gave you yesterday.
Yeah, and I think your reaction, if you're hearing it for the first time, you might be jarred by that, but you realize that's what the NBA does. The NBA makes their players stand. Mm-hmm. No one's kneeling in the NBA.
Correct. That is correct.
Predominantly black athletes.
That is
correct. You don't hear a peep.
That is correct. Vince McMahon, I don't think anyone, maybe I'm wrong about this. What am I missing here? Because I don't think many people have the opinion Mike Ryan has that this was brilliant, what Vince McMahon did. Guillermo, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. What Vince McMahon did yesterday, brilliant or disappointing?
Oh, disappointing. It wasn't what I was expecting. I don't think, Mike, there's no way that's what you were expecting. We were talking about it on the air yesterday. You weren't expecting that.
No, I know Vince McMahon's politics, and I know that there's a wide lane here for someone to cater to the disenfranchised football fan that's just watching football to watch a damn game. I thought he was going to go this way. Now, as far as the safety and the no DUIs and the character of the person, I mean, he turned that volume all the way up.
Well, let's
to
play
11.
that sound. See, this is another thing. This is the language. This is the language. Back before, Vince McMahon used to run with the delinquents, the anarchists. He was anti-establishment. Now, Vince McMahon is saying, nope, I'm establishment.
What about the players? As you know, there's a wealth of talented players that we can draw from, but in the XFL, the quality of the human being is going to be as important as the quality of the player.
Why?
Wait a minute. Come on, you steroid freak. Come on. I mean, really, Vince, you're going to be the moral compass now for the players that we get to watch.
You know how crushing that must have been to Johnny Manziel, who was tweeting at McMahon and the XFL the entire day, and now he's like, man, I can't even play in this guy's league.
You could sell anything. You're a great salesman. You're a great businessman, but you cannot sell me you as a moral authority. No. Vince McMahon can sell anyone to anything, but Vince gets to decide who the players are who have character. Nope, not willing to give you that power, wrestling guru who's turned yourself into a titan, shooting your face with steroids. No, sir.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good then.
Really? We're going to say that Vince McMahon looks like that naturally at 70?
Have you not paid attention to TMZ lately, dude? You may want to pull the pedal off just a little bit.
Yep.
On what?
On the whole steroid thing.
Vince McMahon? Wait a minute. Put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show. Gun to your head. Vince McMahon, steroids, yes or no?
You're not going to learn.
It's just a guess.
I'd say no.
Just a reasonable guess.
No.